You know, I was just thinking about this concept of duality a few moments ago. You know, over this last week, everybody now is talking about the shooting, and I'm not going to go into it because I don't care. I really don't give a shit about any of it. It's just another day. I've seen enough of this crap, and I have more of a life to live. You know, we die every day. Every day we're dying. It's a reverse cycle. We die, and then we're born, and from the time we're born, we start dying. I could care less about any of this. I have time. I have no time to, worry about these things. I don't care about any of it. And you know what I found about it was everybody is talking about it. Everybody has an opinion about what they have to say about it, and people say, well, this needs to happen, and people say, well, no, this needs to happen. Well, people say, no, you're both wrong, this needs to happen, and the next person goes, you're all three wrong, this needs to happen. And I'm laughing. I'm like, wow, that's really good solutions they're presenting to us. Why do I need to pay attention to any of it? Because they're all basically negating every other person's opinion, and nobody's coming up with a solution that makes any sense whatsoever. But, through all of that, I kind of found the message in between the lines, so to speak. I read between the lines, and it's all about what I wanted to make the video about, which is the systems of duality. You know, in this world, think of it like a game. It's a game. You got a red team and you got a blue team. And those are the only two decisions or choices that you have. Is you either pick the red team or you pick the blue team. And they get people to be polarized between one side or the other. You're either going to float to the right or float to the left, whether that's politically, whether that's how you view about what you like and what you don't like, because the whole world's based on duality. That's the whole system we live in, is based on duality. It's either that side is right and this side is wrong, or this side is right and that side is wrong. And that's the whole system, and it goes back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And that's how politics work. You get a Republican in, and then you get a Democrat in, and then you get a Republican in, and then you get a Democrat in, and then you get a Republican in, and then you get a Democrat in. It's back and forth and back and forth and back and forth all the time. And that's the systems of duality. So you get these two choices, and they present them to you with the game. Level 1, are you for it or against it? Are you on team? In every level of this game, you have to pick a side. Something happens. You're presented with two choices, and you either pick the one on the right or the one on the left. And I don't mean politically. I mean as a choice. Red versus blue. I don't mean politically. You're given a choice. And people will either choose right or they'll choose left. And then boom, they fight each other. And that's how the whole thing goes. All day, every day. And the people sit back and watch it. The ones that know about it. The people that are in the know. They sit back and they watch that. Because they know that it's full of shit. Every game that is presented to you in this quote-unquote game of life is either right versus left. You're either on team blue or you're on team red. And what they get people to do is they have these things called politicians, which are basically like sponsors for teammates, you see. And they get people to go, okay, over here we got these perks. You can get free lunch. You can get free gear. We have the latest and greatest things, and we're going to help you beat Team Blue. And then Team Blue does the exact same thing. Well, we have great equipment. We have better information about Team Red, and we're going to stop that. And then they fight each other. But you see, the thing that you're missing about all of this is that both Team Red and Team Blue's sponsors are both working together behind the scenes. See, that's the thing that only the people that are the sponsors know about. And the people in the know already know this. This is common sense. But it's interesting to sit back and review it, to see how it all works and how people fall for it. It amazes me how people still buy into politics. It amazes me that people still think that that means anything when it's just a big game of red versus blue, and behind the scenes you think that you think they're against each other. That's what people think. They actually think they're against each other. They don't think that they're actually working behind the scenes. But that's besides the point. What happens when you don't pick a side? What happens when you say, you know what? I'm presented with these two options. I'm going to pick neither. And I don't mean the political sense of a third party, because that's still picking a side. I mean none of it. None of it whatsoever. I'm just going to sit back and watch you people destroy yourselves. Because it's like people that go off to war. Why would you go there to kill yourself? Why would you pick a side knowing that you're going to die? You see, but the thing is, only the people in the know, or I guess the eyes to see, realize this. The people that are spiritually mature enough to realize this. Most people are not. Most people are not, for whatever reason. I can't tell you. But it's interesting to see how things are current in this point in time, as I've mentioned many of my book, I've mentioned 1984, I've mentioned Brave New World, and a series of other books probably in the past, backing up my points about how this whole thing works. And it goes back and forth all day long. You see, for those who are, I guess, spiritually mature enough, for those who have the eyes to see past all this stuff and really understand what I'm trying to say, you don't choose either side. That's the big trick that they get you to buy into. It's like you're met with a crossroads, and there's a bunch of cattle, and there's two roads you can go down, and they're prodding the people to go down one or the other so that they can fight each other to generate energy. But you see, what people don't realize is that you don't have to go down that road if you are able to understand the game. It's only up to that point, if you're able to understand the game, that you turn around and walk back and say, no, I'm not going to do that. Because that's what they want. They want you to go either the left or the right side, and then they want to watch you fight each other to the death. When in reality, it never leads to any conclusion. It's just a big game. It's a big carnival circus show. It's a big joke. So what happens when you walk between the lines, the middle path? What happens when you decide to walk that middle path? What really truly happens when you decide to literally go your own way? No pun intended. What happens when you literally decide to literally go your own way? Well, you become very alienated, for one, because you realize that there's a very small percentage of people like you out there that truly go their own way, that truly realize that the predetermined sides are a worthless waste of time. Because when you take that middle path, you're blazing your own trail, basically. And the thing about anybody who's ever gone their own way, they've realized that it's a hard road, because whether it's the fact that you had to let go of your personal animosity towards other people because they chose the red team or the blue team, you decided to form your own team but not play the game. And we see this a lot with a lot of men, particularly when we decide to forge our own path. We look out and all the people that are going down those predetermined paths. The whole world, like I said, is based on duality. The whole thing has been set up from the get-go of what you're going to do if you don't decide to break out from the herd. And for most people, they go down the right or the left path. regardless of the right or the left path, thinking that the right path is the right way or the left path is the right way. They're both being used. Because all they are is a positive and a negative, and a giant battery terminal is all that they are. That's all that they are. And so as they go down the right or the left path, thinking that they're doing the right thing because they've told people that's the right way to go, they get caught up into this cycle of insanity. It's one of the reasons why I don't pay attention to all this crap that goes on. I look at it for 5 minutes and that's all I need to know. I gather little pieces of information here and there to figure out what the story's about, and I let it go. But you see, what happens is they get you in that state of you're against this side or you're against this side. And then they throw you together in a big bang to generate that energy out of people's frustration. But no matter what side you choose, that predetermined right or left path, you're still being used. So what does that say about the right or the left, whether it's politically, whether it's what you choose in life? Specifically politically, what does that say about the whole system? You see, and they get everybody all riled up all the time, and the system goes back and forth, and people don't know because they don't have the eyes to see. And this is one of the challenges of a person going your own way. To sit back and watch that happen, knowing that you're screaming at them. I've completely decided to let that go because I was hurting my voice. You know what I mean? And it was a waste of time. They've chosen their path. There's nothing you can do. Sorry. That's the tough facts of this game. And the other aspect of going your own way is that when you make a decision and you say, well, you know what, I'm not going to participate in that game. I'm going to do my own thing. You'll get people indirectly calling people like you a bunch of names because you've decided to do your own thing. And you feel at some points, if you don't, you have to not take it personally because they don't know any better, because they've fallen into the dualistic mindset of the big game, I like to call it, of the red team versus the blue team. Whether that's politically or whether that's how you view life or whatever it is, the whole it keeps going on and on. It's not, you know, it's a small version of a bigger game. The big game is red team versus blue team, but then below that you have 5 other teams of red team and blue team, and that transitions itself into, you know, what you think about topic A, B, C, or D, E, or F, or G. And you get polarized again, and then you get polarized even more, and it breaks off even more. And it never stops. So when you're going your own way and you see all this stuff happen, you look out into the big game as you're sitting up on the, you know, the bleacher stands, and you're watching the right and the left battle it out. You're thinking, what insanity is this? Did the red team not know that the blue team would fight them? Did they not know that the sponsors of the red team and the blue team were working together all along to get them to fight regardless, and they knew it was all bullshit for a bigger plan? To generate tickets, which I like to call energy, for whatever reason. Did they not know that? Of course they didn't know that. So, you know, what is the whole point of what I've been rambling on about? What is the end goal here? What are you trying to say, Element? What I'm trying to say is that when you go your own way, you must realize that the whole world is based on duality. There are 2 predetermined positions in this world that you take. You're either on the red team or you're on the blue team, and that's it. They don't want people going their own way. Because when you go your own way, you're not contributing to the team. And they don't like people that don't contribute to the red team or the blue team. And they go after people because you're a grounding circuit. You see, you have the positive, which is the red, you have the negative, which is the blue, and then you have the white wire, which is the ground. You're the ground because you're neutral. You don't fall into both. You're grounded. And that's the whole philosophy in an occultic perspective of what going your own way means. Is that you are neutral. You don't fall for the right or the left. You don't get pulled to one polarization or the other. You don't fall for the game. You keep steady. You keep in the middle. You don't fall for all the garbage going on out there in the world. Whether it's a shooting or a bombing or a killing or a stabbing or feminism or women's rights or the women's protest, you don't fall for none of it. You stay centered. You maintain your mind. You stay on your path. And they hate people like that. Because you don't allow the circuit to get overflowed with what they want. You stick to your path. You are the ground between this giant game of energy. And they don't like people like that because you don't contribute to generating energy. You see, you don't fall for their game of, well, you have to tell us what you feel about it. I don't say anything about it. Mostly, I don't talk to very many people to mention it anyway. Very few people I talk to about these things. My true feelings about it. Because I don't play the game. And so when you don't play the game, and you put the controller down, they have nothing to say to you. You're neutral. What happens if somebody comes up to you and say, well, what do you think about the shooting that happened recently? It's just, well, I think there needs to be gun control. Well, I think the teachers need to have guns. What do you say? Oh man, well, yeah, it's unfortunate, yeah. What are they going to say then? Because anything else that they say after that point, they're putting words in your mouth, and then you can manipulate it for your own benefit. You take that energy that they put in front of you, because they're trying to promote you to be on team blue or team red. And you take that energy and you convert it, you ground it, and you use it for your own benefit to better yourself. That's what it really means to not play the game. Is that you take the energy from the right team and the blue team, and you take that, whenever it throws your way, you take that and you use it for your own benefit. So let's take this politically. If a Republican comes to you and says, well, there needs to be gun control. Yeah, yes, absolutely. Or not gun control. They say, well, we need to have gun. The Republicans go, well, we need to have teachers have guns to defend themselves. Yeah, sure. Yeah, I think it's a great idea. And then you have a friend of yours or whoever comes to you and says, we need to stop this bump stock stuff. Yeah, it's crazy. Either way you play that dynamic of this game that these people like to play out there, not knowing that they're part of a big fuck job, whatever thing they decide to play, you get to take both sides and use it for yourself to ground the both sides. You see what I mean? The whole point is don't play the game, okay? That's the whole point. Anyways. With that being said, I just wanted to kind of get my thoughts out there. I don't know if anybody will understand it. Maybe you do. Whatever, what I mean. But I felt like this might be an interesting thing to see what people might have thought about it. But to finalize the video here, to bring things back to earth, like I said, you have two different sides that we're presented with here. And the whole point of going your own way, whether you're a MGTOW or you're somebody just trying to learn about how things work here, is not to play this game of right versus blue. You can take that politically. You can take that through marriage and the institutions of relationships. You can take that through any of it. Your whole goal is to walk right down the center of it, and you use the right side and the blue side to funnel your energy to keep going down that path. That's the whole goal, basically. Because until people realize that that's what the deal is, then they're going to keep getting caught up on red team versus blue team. And for those who have the eyes to see, those who have that gnosis, those who have that ability to walk between the lines, then they're going to get it. And they're not gonna be polarized, and they're not gonna get caught up into what the fuck happens on the news or what happens in their own backyard in terms of what they're trying to promote, or getting caught up and angry over what somebody says or what they're doing or what they believe or what their agendas are. You just walk that middle path and ignore all of it. And whatever they throw your way, you take it. You take the right side, you take the blue side, you funnel that energy in, and it just makes you a whole nother person. And you know what that real philosophy is? That's what they called in the Bible, where like Jesus walked, between the Red Sea and stuff, and he was the ground, man. In Kabbalah, they talk about the middle path. That's what it is. It's taking the polarization of this game and taking that right side and that blue side and using it to create a whole nother system. And taking that energy and just walking it up the straight ladder. You got red team pillar over here, you got blue team pillar over here, and then you got a ladder going up the center. And then you take the right side, the left side, power the ladder, and you go straight up the center. And everybody else is fighting over here and fighting over there, and you're just like, oh, how you guys doing? See ya. And that's what Gnosis is.